Hi everybody at Rat Salad Reviews. I'm Prophet. I'm the vocalist of the band Saint Madness from Tempe, Arizona, United States of America. And I just wanted to share with you real quick about one of the greatest honors of my life, which was when Saint Madness was on the same bill as the mighty King Diamond way back on April 27th, 1998. And there's a video online on YouTube. If you go look it up, just look up Saint Madness Presents Carnametal number 2. And the first 35 or 40 minutes is, first it's Saint Madness on stage, and then it goes into the King on stage. And then you actually get to see the King walk out of the venue and get in a BMW and drive off. And, you know, I just want to say what a rush and what a thrill that was the night that we got to open for King Diamond. And I went to the concert here in Phoenix last night, and the old boy is amazing as he ever was. He's hitting all the notes. He has an incredible stage show. And, you know, I was just sitting there watching him, shaking my head, going, you know, we got to open for him. And, as far as my life, I've been in music 40 years, and the night we opened for King Diamond is absolutely one of the greatest and best moments of my musical life. So, everybody hang in there, love each other, and long live the fans of metal music.
All right. Welcome to This Broadcast Belongs to Them.
I was going to say it, but fine.
Go ahead. I'll let you say it.
Welcome to This Broadcast Belongs to Them.
That's right. I always do it, so I just used to doing it all the time. But I'll let you do it from now on.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
All right, we'll just take it out.
You might have to remind me on that in the future, but anyway,
back to the show.
Ghouls and gals, or damn, now I can't remember what Vincent Price used to say. But anyway, this week we are talking about Side A of Mercyful Fate's debut album, Melissa.
That is correct, sir. And we will also have Martin Popoff on the show. He will be talking about his book that he has called Black Funeral, Into the Coven with Mercyful Fate. Oh, can you see that? There you go.
Yep.
It was just released a couple weeks ago, so definitely give a check out on his website. I think it was, how much was that book? $30 maybe? Or maybe less than that.
I think it was less than that.
Might have been less than that.
I want to say it was 20-something, but I can't remember.
It's possible. With shipping, too, so it's, you know, he doesn't charge you extra shipping, I don't think.
No.
But it wasn't that much money. And it's a cool book. It's actually a fairly thick book. He goes through every album, all the songs, kind of like we're doing, but probably a better job.
Yeah. And Martin's books are always very well done, very informative. They're always a good read, well worth the money.
Yeah, I still have to take a look at this one, but yeah, it's a cool book. Some pictures in there as well. Some really cool stuff in there. So give that a look see, and stay for that interview later on. But now we will get into Melissa, Side A.
Yes, and this album was released on October 30th, 1983, but recorded in July in Copenhagen.
Really?
Yes. And the producer for this record was Henrik Lund. However, he was the co-owner of the studio, and which is how he ended up producing it, but he had never produced a metal band before. So he took a lot of input from the band as they were recording and mixing the record. So
really?
Apparently they were very involved with it.
Oh, wow. Well, it shows because it's very fine-tuned, you can tell, on this album. As opposed to the EP.
That was the other part of it, was they knew they were going to have a very limited amount of time in the studio. So before they went into the studio, they rehearsed these songs constantly and made sure they were arranged completely how they wanted them in advance so they could just go in and bang it out.
Right. Oh, and also, too, it was the first release on Roadrunner.
Yes, it was, which I just found out as we were looking up stuff about this.
That's right.
And also about this album, well, this album had two songs that were recorded during the sessions. The one, Black Masses, which became the B-side to Black Funeral, which is on side 2, which was, I believe, the only single released from this, right? Yeah. I don't know if that one was ever intended to be on the album or not, but the label wanted them to record a cover song for this. So they originally did a cover of Led Zeppelin's The Immigrant Song, but the band wanted it left off the album because they felt it didn't fit in at all and it kind of ruined the theme.
Yeah.
But according to Hank Sherman, Diamond's performance was very surprising on it because he sounded almost exactly like Robert Plant when he did it.
Yeah. I think even Michael Dennis mentioned that as well.
I believe he does in his interview. Yeah.
I'm kind of glad he didn't release that because it just would not fit. There's no reason to have a cover song on this album.
No, that would completely ruin the flow of the record. And, I mean, really, even though it's 7 songs and Black Masses probably would have fit on it, that's okay as a B-side. I mean, I like that song, but I don't think it would have fit in right with the feel of the rest of the record either. Not that it's a concept album, but it's got a very specific feel to it.
Yeah. An Immigrant Song has nothing to do with Satan either, I don't think, so kind of out of place.
No.
Yeah, that would be like them doing what the hell is that song that they did, the Golden Earring song on.
Oh yeah, Radar Love.
Yes, that would be like throwing Radar Love on this. It makes no sense.
Nah, not at all.
Not at all. But they do open with the first track called Evil.
Yes, which I suppose in a way is their immigrant song, sort of.
Kind of, yeah. I guess, yeah. Kind of, because it just kind of like starts off like real quick, like that song does, and I can hear the similarities.
Yeah, and you know, he gets right to the business with the vocals. I mean, he doesn't shriek immediately like Plant does.
He does this like this gritty voice. I was born in a cemetery on the sign of the moon. It doesn't sound like that at all, but you know, he gets gritty like that.
Yeah.
But then he does that scream. He accents moon, like he does that scream when he says moon. So.
And then he does it again on the next line when he does "Raised from My Grave by the Dead," and then he goes back to the gritty with "I was made a mercenary," and then he keeps that on "In the Legions of Hell." But I think when he does Hell, he does it kind of like hell,
yeah.
And then he screams again when he does the King of Pain line after that.
Yeah. King of the Pain, I'm insane! Yep.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. That was pretty good, actually.
It was pretty good, wasn't it? I should sing more often. No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, just a little practice. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's just a little practice. Yeah. But, yeah, some cool lyrics on this song. This is actually one of my favorite lyrics. Not my favorite lyrics, but it's cool on this song. My only pleasure is to hear you cry. I love to hear you cry. I love to feel you die. I'll be the first to watch your funeral, and I'd be the last to leave. That's pretty fucked up.
That is. and
that's something you tell somebody when you fucking really hate them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When you just want to fucking do nothing but spit in their face. And then when he does the next, I'd love to hear you cry line, the first line after that is, and then when you're down beyond the ground, I'll dig up your body again.
Yeah, that's. He's not done with the funeral thing. He just wants to continue this.
He's evil, and he really fucking hates them, and he wants them to know it.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, these lyrics are pretty fucked up. You got to say goodbye, he says at the end, because I will eat your mind. Does he eat the brain? Is that what he's talking about? Is he a fucking vampire? We discussed this earlier.
No, zombie. That's
zombie.
Seriously, yeah. I always kind of took the meaning of the song as that he was a zombie.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what it is. Yeah, eat your mind. Zombies eat minds and brains and shit. So, yeah, but cool song. A lot of really cool solos and stuff, and also too, like we discussed with Martin. They don't go back to the verse on this song. It's just like it's the verse, it's bridge, chorus, and then it goes back to the bridge and to the chorus. Like the verses never come back again. It's a very weird way to put together a song because not too many songs do that. I don't think.
No, it's a very odd lyrical arrangement for sure, and then just but it works well for it though.
It works.
It kind of punches right out like a steamroller almost, but.
Yeah, it's funny because I never really noticed that until he brought that up.
I never really thought about the fact that it didn't have a chorus either because the different what's that? The verse. Yeah. But the different rhythm lines, and everything are just so memorable in the different riffs and even the lyrics themselves too that I just never noticed they didn't repeat that.
Right. Yeah. It's really strange. But it flows very well, so it's it's a good song, awesome song. Song number 2,
definitely one of their signature songs, I would say.
definitely.
Especially considering they re-recorded this and the following one with for Metallica's Guitar Hero game.
Yeah. All right, song number 2, Curse of the Pharaohs. God, I remember this song. I believe that this is like the first song I ever really heard of Mercyful Fate. I heard King Diamond first, and then I heard Mercyful Fate, and I believe this is the first song I've ever heard of theirs. And like we were discussing earlier, you said one of your friends didn't realize King and Mercyful Fate were the same, same thing. And I think I felt the same way. Because I wasn't sure. I didn't really know King Diamond that well at the time. And, finding out that he's the same guy. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the other funny part about that is, the video I showed him from that Live at the Dynamo tape of this song, actually. But, King didn't have the full-on makeup that he would have when he first started his solo band or even on The Oath. He just kind of had the inverted cross and black circles around his eyes at that point, which also made him think, wow, that guy sounds a lot like King Diamond. Well, kind of is King Diamond.
Well, that must be an old video. You don't still have that, do you? Mm-hmm. Well, you do still have it.
Yeah, I still have it. Yeah, it's, well, I don't have the VHS anymore. I think it actually just kind of degraded and fell apart over time. But I copied it onto a DVD that I have. Not the best video quality in the world, but it's a pretty cool show.
Do you know if it's on YouTube?
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know if the whole thing's on YouTube, but I know at least 2 or 3 of the songs are.
I'll have to check it out. Could add it to the show, too. In a little box that we have up on top of it, it shows pictures and videos once in a while.
Actually, on the back cover of this, Does he have the final makeup design yet, or is it just the black around the eyes with the?
Let's see. It is. No, actually, yeah, he does have the full makeup. You can't really tell on there, but I can tell he's got like the Gene Simmons, vampire.
as collectively every King Diamond fan watching this either shakes their fist and goes, "God damn you, Gene Simmons," or exasperates.
But yeah, you can kind of tell a little bit that he does have on the EP. He did have the black eyes, but this one, I don't know if you can tell, but he does have it. It's such a bad picture because he's got the smoke in his face, but
I was just curious because that
iconic makeup.
Yeah, that concert isn't from very long before they recorded this, so
that's his best makeup. Actually, it's no, this is probably not the same makeup. It could be similar to the makeup that's on the cover of this one.
Similar, yeah.
That's probably makeup from Don't Break the Oath.
I believe so. Yeah. That actually looks like the vest he had for that tour too.
Yeah.
He dressed a little different for Melissa.
Yeah. All right. So song number 2, "Curse of the Pharaohs." We were already talking about this. I forgot what we were doing, but I remember listening to this on the school bus. No, not on the school bus. That was a different song. I think I heard it first on a college radio station. Just came on, popped up, during their little playlist or whatever. I heard so many friggin' bands from that radio station. It was actually a station in Connecticut, and I just happened to get it in my house. I mean, it's a long ways away, from where I am, and I was just playing with the antenna one day, and all of a sudden the station came on. It was playing metal. I'm like, where the hell is this at? So I finally got the station to actually work and stay in. And then the Mercyful Fate song came on, and I was just like, that's fucking awesome. That guy sounds really familiar. And find out later that it was King Diamond. But God, I used to do so many things to try to get that station on my little radio. I'd hang antennas all different spots of the room and just try to get it in every Saturday night.
10 coat hangers woven together, taped to the side of the house.
Coat hangers and a fucking Reynolds wrap, and it was a nightmare.
You wear a little tinfoil hat, walking around the room with the radio, looking.
It's Saturday night. I need my fix. That was some cool shit. I tried to listen to that station now. If anybody is watching this from Connecticut, WNHU was the station. It's still around. Just the guys that used to do the radio stuff, just I guess they grew up because it was a college radio, and they just don't do it anymore. But found a lot of cool bands on that anyway. But some really cool lyrics on here. It starts out with away out in Egypt in the Valley of Kings, where the mummified pharaohs pretend dead in their sleep.
Yeah, and I love the way he sings that too. So great. And the opening riff is awesome too.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely one of their most memorable.
What really got me is the chorus, obviously, because that's usually what gets me the songs is the choruses. But I like this one. Don't touch, never ever steal, unless you're in for the kill, or you'll be hit by the curse of the pharaohs. Yes, you'll be hit by the curse. Oh no, yes, you'll be hit, and the curse is on you. But I always like that. Don't touch, never steal, unless you're in for the kill. I like that. It's cool.
For the kill.
Yeah, it's some cool shit.
Yeah,
awesome song.
Yeah, it really is, and the chorus itself is definitely catchy. But I remember it so well too, just because of the musical part of it. I love that riff he plays during the chorus. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what I like the most about this stuff. I love King's vocals and stuff, but the music is just so catchy. It's just the ideas that they came up with, especially at this time when this album came out. It's just I don't know. It's kind of almost beyond what everybody else was doing in a way, I think.
It really is. Actually, this song is a great example of that. I mean, okay, in the late 70s, a lot of people were interested in Egyptology because of the whole King Tut thing, but I don't think you ever really had any, but certainly nobody in metal address the curse quite like this.
Yeah,
or just Yeah, or just Egypt in general, even.
Yeah. Because even Iron Maiden Power Slave, that didn't come out till what, 84? So it was like a year
Yeah,
after. So
84.
they stole it from Merciful Fate first, and then they went and did it.
That's right. Damn you, Steve.
Damn you.
Just kidding.
Song number 3, Into the Coven. Howl like a wolf, and a witch will open the door. Follow me and meet our high priestess. Come, come, into my coven, and you'll become Lucifer's child.
I just the acoustic intro is just awesome.
It is.
That little classical guitar Richie Blackmore-esque piece.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't expect that because, the first 2 songs are kind of like in your face and then it slows down, which is cool because a lot of the albums at this time kind of repeated that same kind of thing. Like the first 2 songs are the fast songs, and then the third song brought it down. And you don't hear that much anymore. And that's cool to me because it gives the album
different flavors.
Right,
almost.
yeah, exactly.
It makes it more dynamic, I feel like. And one thing I was actually going to say about that too is, usually if a band did have a song, especially in metal or hard rock, that did have an acoustic intro, it was always at the beginning of the album.
Right.
So it's really cool to hear it as the third song, and it just gives a completely different dynamic to it.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Makes it stand out a lot more too.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like.
Yeah, some other cool lyrics. Well, I don't know if this is cool lyrics, but undress until you're naked. And put on this white coat. Take this white cross and go to the middle of the ring. And then suck the blood from this unholy knife. Say after me, my soul belongs to Satan.
That's how he says it too.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
but
it is pretty fucked up.
It is, but it's an awesome song, and just listening to this is not going to make you worship the devil, and you're not going to go to hell listening to this shit. It's just fucking music.
And he always manages to do really good start descriptions like that too.
Yeah.
In his lyrics,
he tells really good stories. I mean, Merciful Fate isn't concept albums like King Diamond is, but each song he has stories in each song. And what?
Thankfully.
Yeah. Although I would be interested to see how they would do a concept album, but let's not do it.
Yeah,
it's too late in your career to even attempt to do that. Judas Priest.
Yeah. Well, love Judas Priest, especially the late 70s and 80s stuff, but there's a band that had no business ever doing a concept album. Sorry, guys.
They did it. Although I didn't mind it, but they shouldn't have done it. But yeah, I love this song.
I don't know if that record's horrible because it's a concept album or because it's just a bad record, but it's definitely a bad record. But
right. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it. But we're not talking about Judas Priest. We're talking about Merciful Fate. Maybe one day we'll do a Judas Priest show. Maybe. I doubt it. But yeah, this is one of my favorite Merciful Fate songs, Into the Coven. Just so many cool parts in this with the acoustic stuff, and then it gets into the heavier stuff, and just awesome song all around.
It's funny because I said it about the first 2 tracks, and I'll say it here again. And really, the first 3 of this are very identifiable Merciful Fate songs. Like,
oh yeah,
definitely stuff when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely Merciful Fate. But whenever you think of Merciful Fate, these are some of the first songs to pop in your head.
Yeah. Especially, and also too, I just like you were even saying before that the intro, that guitar, that lead guitar part that comes in there, it's just so awesome. That's Michael Denner, You instantly know that's him.
Yeah, I love how he's following with the acoustic like that. That's just so cool.
Yeah, I love that sound. And the other thing too with the Michael Denner, he still uses that same sound pretty much today. I mean, that's his signature sound.
He really does. Yeah, he's never changed. I should have.
He has changed a little bit because, unlike Into the Unknown, they changed a lot. But on this album, and even on his new album, his solo album, he kind of goes back to this sound a little bit.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I was thinking of is Denner's Inferno. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, what song is this? Number
But
four.
yeah, Into the Coven was actually originally going to be the name of this record.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I do not know why they changed it to Melissa, but they did. And also, I forgot to mention while we were talking about Curse of the Pharaohs, Curse of the Pharaohs is the final version of a song that was originally on one of the Bratz demos
Right.
we've reviewed previously called Night Riders. And Into the Coven was originally Love Criminals.
That is correct, sir. That is right. A lot of differences. I mean, the lyrics are all changed and everything. So, but
Well, yeah, the original bass player, I really didn't care for the lyrics he came up with for either of those songs. I
Right.
mean, Night Riders was kind of okay, but it definitely isn't Curse of the Pharaohs. But Love Criminals, I just always thought was as cool as, because it's still almost kind of the same basic song. I mean, it's not quite as intricate. It doesn't have the classical flair so much then, and obviously no acoustic guitar at the beginning, but the music definitely didn't fit the lyrics that they had originally. It sounded really out of place, and King sounded really uncomfortable singing it, but I'm glad they recognized that the core of the song was really good, and then they kept and reused it and turned it into something great.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of work. All right, then the last song, the fourth song, At the Sound of the Demon Bell. Now, to me, this is where the album kind of like falls off a little bit. You know?
Yeah, this is one of those songs where it's kind of like everything but the kitchen sink in it, but it doesn't quite connect.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of separate parts that are just kind of loosely related.
Yeah. This is, I guess, technically the first progressive sounding song on this album, because Satan's Fall on the second side, that's very progressive, and they throw a lot of shit in there and they make that song work. This one,
I'd say Into the Coven probably shows the first hints of it. I mean,
so?
I wouldn't call it out and out a progressive song, but
I think this one's I would consider this one.
Mostly because of how Michael does that lead along with the acoustic guitar. That's really what makes me think. And there's a couple parts in the middle where the Kim and Timmy are playing kind of in a Deep Purple style, but Deep Purple wasn't really a prog band, so I'm gonna shut up about that now.
Regardless, this one's more progressive sounding because it got so many different parts in it, and there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't work. But there's a lot of stuff that does work, which is a shame because it's just one of those songs where you do have parts in it, and you would like to listen to the song, but because of the shitty parts, like the part in the middle of it where it's like it's got like that breakdown thing in there, it's just like weird. I'm trying to think what the hell does it say?
I hear a bell, a sound from hell.
Oh yes, that part.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
That's during the breakdown part, which, I mean, that little breakdown part, the groove they get into with that, and just how they do that in general sounds cool. It just doesn't fit with the song, unfortunately. But the way they play the rhythm with it at least kind of fits the basic backbeat that they had established so far. But then when it switches into the faster part where it speeds up again and Beelzebub, Astaroth, Bring Me to the Devil, that just comes out of left field, man.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? Like they should have did a song based more around that part, but it's just a very disjointed song. I don't even, what the hell is this song about?
Halloween.
It is about Halloween, right? Yeah. Which is that?
I think it's like a take on the not Al. Yeah, All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve tradition of ghosts rising from the grave.
Yeah.
And then within that, he works Satan into it.
Oh, of course.
Because it's called At the Sound of the Demon Bell. So.
Yeah, you have to work him in there somehow. But it's just weird. I mean, these aren't even some of my favorite lyrics. I mean, even the song starts off, Halloween is the night. The legend says the ghost will rise. On Halloween, they can't redeem. A restless soul from ancient scene at the sound of the demon bell. Everything will turn to hell. Rise, rise, rise. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
It is cool, but this is a throwaway song for me.
The coolest lyrics to it, though, I think are at the end. Speaking of a lot of the fucked up, kind of mean-spirited, evil, if you will, stuff he does on this. Upon a burning cross, the Lord Jesus, Satan's above. It must be a shame to see the Lord fall again. Now rise, reconcile with the powers of darkness, uncover as saints. You better believe or see for yourself. Yeah. Well, not so much the last line. Actually, that's kind of bad English there. But, no offense, King.
Yeah, but to me, it's a throwaway song. So I mean, listen to it once in a while, but it's not my favorite song on this album.
Yeah, I don't dislike it. When I want to hear the album as a whole, it fits in with it. Mm-hmm. But it's just weird. Yeah, that's really the only way to see a rare misfire from Mercyful Fate. But it's not a bad song. It's just an odd
it's not
one.
Terrible. It's just put together very odd. But go take a listen to it and see for yourself. And write in the comments, what do you feel about that song or any of the songs off of this album? Let us know.
Yeah,
how much you like this album. You like this? Is this your favorite Mercyful Fate album, or is it your least favorite? Who knows? But let us know in the comments below. So that is it from us, right?
That's right. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
This episode.
That's right.
Didn't say week this time.
That's right.
Getting better.
Thank you. But this is side A, and next episode will be side B. But right now, we're going to head over to Martin Popoff, an interview we did with him a few days ago, to talk about his, once again, his book, Into the Coven with Mercyful Fate, Black Funeral. And that's it. Let's join Martin Popoff. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Welcome to Rat Salad Review, but this is our show for King Diamond called This Broadcast Belongs to Them.
Okay.
Yeah, I remembered it this time, Greg.
Hey, well, I was ready if you didn't.
It's a long name. Sometimes I forget, and we don't do this every week.
Let me close my email so it's not making noises. Okay, done. Okay.
Yeah, but welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, somebody posted on Facebook a couple days ago about your book.
Oh, good. It's arrived. Excellent.
Yes, it has arrived. I got it yesterday. I didn't get a chance to look through it yet, but I saw this cover and I'm like, oh my God, I got to see what this is. And I saw it was one of your books, so I had to pick it up right away, and it came in the mail yesterday and autographed as well.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. I couldn't think of much witty to say. I even asked my Facebook people, so we came up with Satan's Folio for Satan's Palm, or a dangerous reading, right?
Right, exactly.
That's a good one.
But I got better ones for Blue Oyster Cult, Greg. I've got Don't Fear the Reader. I've got three men said don't report this. What was the other one? You got Are You Ready to Read? So when I signed the Blue Oyster Cult book, it's one of those three.
I believe mine says, "Are you ready to read?"
Yeah. Cool.
Actually, Wayne, a lot of the little tidbits and stuff I get are from Martin's book on Blue Oyster Cult.
Cool. Oh, really?
That I bring up.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's why I wore the Nosferatu shirt, actually.
Yeah, I'm doing a couple very strange Blue Oyster Cult projects right now. So one is not that strange. It's from my UK publisher, Weimer Publishing. So I'm doing a timeline and intros, and they're doing a visual history of Blue Oyster Cult. So it's a lot of all the memorabilia and artwork and ads and photography. And the other one, though, is so I had been planning for years to do a detailed Imaginos timeline and then illustrate the Imaginos story. And then lo and behold, I find out on Facebook there's this book planned about these all these science fiction writers are writing stories based on the Imaginos story. And I already had this timeline, so I condensed it. I actually made it smaller, and I've done a whole pile of pencil drawings for it.
Awesome.
That happening, yeah.
My
BOC.
Yeah. A buddy of mine, Randy Mychaud, he has his own record label, Stone Grooves Records, but he just went through their whole catalog and made like a whole compilation of everything that he thinks fits into the Imaginos story, and that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got I've got all sorts of Aleister Crowley in there and Austin Osman Spare, and I mean the whole Sandy's whole story is about the occult origins of World War One. And there really aren't occult origins of World War One. There are for World War Two, but there is the whole German occult revival, the Victorian times coming up. So I've got this massive timeline with all this crazy stuff in it. It's like 10,000 words, and
Wow.
yeah, it's really cool. And drawing all these weird, crazy occult pictures for it. So.
Sounds like a cool book. Little project. So anyway, yeah. So how did you get into Merciful Fate? I haven't read your book yet, so I don't know the whole story, what you have, going on.
Right. Well, I was trying to think back, and I think I probably explained it a little bit in the introduction. That's what I use my books, the introductions of my books for usually, is just to give a little personal reminiscence or whatever. So
Right.
I couldn't quite remember, but I don't think I heard the EP first. I definitely got the LP, right away. Got it in 83, probably within, and not because we knew anything about them. So the funny story is that when me and my buddies got Melissa, it literally reminded us of nothing else but getting Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny, because, and I say this in the introduction, because the idea was that it was almost like this band has sold their soul to Satan to be this good when being a baby band. And I remember the only other album I ever felt that way about was Sabotage Sirens a little bit. But this was much more, the mystique and the creepiness was much more in line with Sad Wings of Destiny, because when we got Sad Wings of Destiny, baby band on a small label, religious writing, slightly religious themes or timeless themes, and so, and it just basically blew all of our top 10 lists out of the water. And that's what Melissa felt like at the same time. It felt like, this was literally the most skilled band we'd ever heard. And it's a baby band. It's their first album. So, and it's on Roadrunner. Can't remember if I would have gotten a Canadian issue of that. I seem to think I would have. So it would have been probably... Is that Bonsai, or is it, or just Canadian Roadrunner? Maybe it wasn't Bonsai.
I know there is a Bonsai press of it,
right?
But I couldn't tell you which one was first because there's two. There's a Canadian Roadrunner, and then there's a Bonsai. And at one point, I had several.
Yeah, because Roadrunner and Bonsai went together. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it gets a little complicated. I have to go back and look at that stuff. But and my Don't Break the Oath. Yeah, definitely my personal copies. I remember now. Both my personal copies were Canadian copies, at least. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any difference between like the American or even the what do you call it? Where the hell are they from?
The Danish?
The
actual Dutch Roadrunner?
Yes, that's what I'm...
Dutch Roadrunner. No, I don't think there's any difference. There were no track alterations or anything like that. I think we got the inserts and stuff. So, yeah. I think
about the only difference on the Dutch ones is they say made in the Netherlands, and part of the copyright information is written in Dutch. That's
actually the only other version I know of is a Megaforce version of Melissa. And it's got like a weird ending to the last song, Melissa.
Wow.
Yeah, they changed like a piece of it.
Yeah.
That's the original U.S. press.
Yeah. Oh, is that what that is? All right.
I seem to recall my Don't Break the Oath was a little flawed as well. Like I think the Canadian pressings were a little screwed up for some reason.
They were, I think, though, that was the one that was slightly warped or something like that. It was a pressing problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, instantly that was the thing about them. It was a band that bore no similarity to any other band. That's for sure. With the falsetto, with the amount of progressive metalness to it, with how just like I say, skilled it was, and then as the interviews for the book, you realize basically these guys were on a mission to be as good as Judas Priest. Not every band had that as their mission statement, but Michael Denner, King Diamond, like these guys are musicologists, music nerds, music snobs, and they knew what the best metal in the world was because they knew everything about metal, and they knew the best metal was basically Sad Wings, Sin After Sin, Stained Class, right? and that's basically was their mission, to be as good as Priest, better than Priest.
Yeah.
And the heaviest band in the world. They said that too.
Yeah. Were you into it right away, or did it take you time to like get into his vocals?
Never, ever, ever, ever did get into the falsetto.
Oh, really?
No, I would say that everything to me would even be better without the falsetto. I still totally believe that, but it was not a hindrance at all to loving the band and loving King, everything about him. So it wasn't like I hated the falsetto, but it always was my least favorite of all his vocal styles. I loved the Glenn Danzig croon. That's my favorite. I loved his guttural voice, like when he goes into a bit of a talking voice. He has so many weapons, right?
Right. Yep.
So my least favorite weapon is the falsetto. So, but it is funny. The other thing as kids was we really had a problem when we didn't like vocals. Like the Ramones was thrown out because basically the Ramones just did not count as a serious band because for some reason we couldn't get into Johnny's vocals. No, not Johnny's vocals. Joey's vocals. Yeah, here I am. I wrote a Ramones book too.
I know. I was going to say, what we have you on the show for?
Yeah. so yeah, it's funny. There were certain bands where and Rush never felt bad either. So yeah, for some reason King and Geddy Lee made it through, but the Ramones did not make it through at all. It's odd.
Yeah, it is odd. Actually, I listen to the Ramones at work all the time, and everybody, even at work, they say, I listen to this crap. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the Ramones. Yeah. They're classic. I don't know. They're good to me. Greg, you got anything? I don't want to...
No, that's cool.
All right. So what else can you tell us about this book? Because... I really want to start reading this book because you got a lot of cool pictures in here. Where did you get the pictures from?
Yeah, they're kind of from all over. I've fallen into this habit of having just the two 8-page color sections. I've done that in the latest 2 Priest books, the latest 2 Iron Maiden books, the 2 Sabbath books. I'm doing a Saxon book now. It's going to be the same thing. I did it in the Accept. I did it in the Riot. So that's kind of what I'm doing a lot more of. And so basically, I guess I got into it because I had already written the story of Melissa and had it just as an ebook, and it's never been in print. So sometimes when I have something started and I have a lot of interviews, that's when I say, hey man, I could actually do a whole book. And then the thing that just put me over the top is I just talked to Michael Denner recently for his Denner's Inferno thing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I thought, okay, well, we had another nice chat. He's a great guy and all this. And I've met all the guys and I've interviewed them. And King, I've interviewed a bunch of times. And you get King on the phone and he'll talk a lot. Although he's really, the amount of interviews and how easy it is to get an interview with him has really gone down. It's really kind of odd. It's been a while since, it used to be just a regular easy thing. Actually, Ozzy used to be like that as well. Right. So I had some writing and I definitely had a bunch of stuff. I usually, don't think about writing a book unless I've interviewed a band at least 10 or 12 or 15 times. So when I feel like I can offer a whole bunch to the world in terms of new stuff. And then, of course, there's a lot of the available press used as well. And then the other thing that's happened recently is I did these 2 big, massive hardcovers of just hardcore writing. Led Zeppelin, all the albums, all the songs. The Clash, all the albums, all the songs. Where no interview stuff except for some sidebar things. But literally what I had to do was analyze the heck out of every single song to the tune of 400 to 500 words, right? So basically that inspired me that, hey, in future books, I'm gonna just analyze all the music a little more than I used to in the old days. So all my books really they're basically the same format. It's like every song is discussed. I try to get as much out of the guys about the album covers, the production, the lyrics, the songs. I discuss every song. There's outside press. There's the photos. Boom. If I can get it to, over 80,000 words or whatever, I have a book. And this one's actually 100,000 words. It's actually a pretty long book.
Oh, wow. It doesn't seem like that long. It's not that big of a book.
Yeah, it's not that thick. I've got a few that are a little longer, a few that are a little shorter. I mean, this one actually falls right in between my Iron Maiden or Where Eagles Dare Iron Maiden in the 80s, which is a little thicker, and Holy Smoke Iron Maiden in the 90s, which is a little thinner. So this is actually kind of right in the middle. But I think it's what is it here? It's 270 pages essentially. So yeah, it's a pretty hefty book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
I got to ask you guys something. So
Sure, go ahead.
I've listened to some Rat Salad, but are you saying you've done many episodes on King and Merciful, or because I've seen you do a lot of stuff, right?
We do a lot of stuff.
Yes.
We are. How many episodes are we in the Kingdom? Like 5, I think.
I couldn't find very
5
much.
or 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
I
kind
think
of.
we're on 6.
Yeah. We kind of stopped because we're waiting for Kim Ruz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got his email address and had a contact with him, and I'm waiting for him to write us back, but he hasn't wrote me back yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get too much further into the show if he was going to come on soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it's been like maybe 2 weeks now, I believe, and I haven't heard from him, so we're probably just going to continue.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's a funny thing, you know. I got to ask you guys because I went and asked my Facebook group this stuff too, my page and my group, and because I was struggling with like, how do you guys have one of the reunion albums that just clearly sounds way different to you and stands head and shoulder above, or even one that you say, I hate this record? Like, do you have any strong opinions other than they're all 8.5s and 9s out of 10s? Because I feel that. About either any of those, what is it, five albums, right?
Yeah.
Or is it 6? How many is it?
There's 2
4,
I
4,
love.
5, I think. 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
There's 2 I love. One I really don't care for, and the other 2 I'm kind of neutral on.
Okay, and what are they?
The 2 I love are Into the Unknown and 9, actually.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Even I didn't know that.
I
Martin, sit over a little bit.
don't care for Dead Again.
Yeah.
And In the Shadows and Time, I like them both a lot. I think they're good albums, but they're not as good as Into the Unknown and 9 are to me. And actually, I haven't ordered your book yet because I haven't gotten paid yet this week. But anyway, I was reading the description, and just based on what it said on the back cover, it seemed like you like 9 a lot. And even though we're talking about the EP tonight, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I my favorite, and I want to hear yours too, Wayne, because I'm dying to. This is really interesting to me, but to me, the one that stands out that is the most different is 9 out of all of them, and I find it to be a very kind of like raw recording and really aggressive, and it has, you know, like Sold My Soul and all that stuff, like the songs that I really like. It just feels more aggressive, and I swear that album cover has a lot to do with it as well, right? What a great album cover,
does.
right? But yeah,
Also
brings
it back to Don't Break the Oath, that album cover.
It's raw, it's aggressive, and they sounded truly alive again. Like they sounded the first time you heard Evil or A Dangerous Meeting. Yeah. And while the other records were good, none of the other ones hit me quite immediately the way 9 does.
Yeah.
Although,
you know, I wouldn't really compare it. I'd compare the strength of the songwriting to Melissa, but I think Melissa is just as sort of studied and you know, seriously and soberly put together as all those other reunion albums.
Oh,
you
definitely.
know what I mean? Like I almost think to me actually, I think Don't Break the Oath and 9 sound the most crazy, like or drunken, you know. I mean, just or just like looser and more aggressive, and part of that is actually only because, come to think of it, Don't Break the Oath's production is very screechy and mid-rangey. Like the band is not happy with the sound of that album, really.
Really?
And 9 kind of leans that way, but the other, I think every other album besides those 2 are completely high fidelity. I mean, they even complain about the debut, right? They complain about Melissa, actually. And I don't know what they're complaining about. Melissa sounds great to me.
Yeah, me too.
Especially for that period in time. It sounds just like everything else that was released.
It sounds super expensive. It's got all the bass and treble you want. Everything sits properly in the mix. It just sounds like a really expensive album. And that again is why, you know, I compare it to Sad Wings of Destiny and this whole idea of these guys sound like the most skilled band ever, and yet nobody's ever heard of them.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But I agree with you both.
So wait,
go
ahead.
Yeah, on 9. I think nine's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But my one problem with 9 is I feel like every song is kind of rushed. They just kind of go from one song, next song, next song, next song.
Yeah.
But it is better than Dead Again. Dead Again is the worst thing that they ever did, I think. I like maybe 2 songs in that whole album. It's just between the production on that album, some weird effect that King uses on his vocals. It really bothers me. I almost feel ill turning on that album. It's just how bad I am. I don't like it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Into the Shadows is probably my favorite actual Merciful Fate album out of all of them.
Yeah.
That was my first Merciful Fate album that I've ever heard, like when it first came out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get into King Diamond until like 1990, so I was kind of like, still learning everything. And Into the Unknown is also my other favorite. So it'd be In the Shadows and Into the Unknown is my favorite. And Time's pretty good too. Even though the production's a little weird on that one.
So I actually took all the Facebook comments that I had when we had this discussion and put them in the book in one little section and framed it around this argument. I just said I'm really struggling with telling them apart, really. Yeah. And it's funny. I can't quite remember the way it came out, but I think it basically proves we're all full of crap because there is no consensus whatsoever.
No.
Across those albums. I mean, it's really cool hearing a really strong opinion against one of them. But yeah, when you get to that section, well, it takes up a good page or two because I basically put in all these sort of comments. Okay, these guys said this album's the best. These guys said this album's the best. And you do get some kind of insightful things about it. But I think the moral of the story of that book, though, because I interviewed most of the producers and stuff, which was kind of cool. I think the moral of the story is how hard they worked all the time and how methodical and planned with charts and boards and stuff. And that's why everything is of such a high quality. Right. I mean, it's just really, really good progressive heavy metal, or if you don't want to call it progressive metal, it's progressive metal. It's heavy metal with a little bit of progressive, or depends where you put it. But basically, I think it's almost testimony that it's hard to pick your favorites of them because they're actually all so good and put so much work into them, and just dozens and dozens and dozens of hours over weeks and months putting those records together.
Yeah. My other problem too is with Dead Again. It was Mike Weed's first album, and I don't think the band really gelled that well. I mean, they fixed it on 9, but with Dead Again, it was just like they kind of figuring out how to play together.
Right.
And
it sounds transitional.
It's so weird to me, that album.
As structured as they are and as beautiful as the compositions come out to be, that's what bothers me so much about Dead Again, is it feels almost chaotic and thrown together.
Yeah. So Rat Salad has as its core King Diamond and Merciful Fate, but you will have shows on other things, basically.
Oh yeah, we do like album versus album shows, and then we do usually our main show is either we do interviews or we do like a new album, whatever new albums are out, or stuff like that. So
yeah,
we're kind of a mixed match of everything.
Yeah, cool.
And I smoke cigarettes, and that really pisses everybody off for some reason.
Oh yeah. And where are both of you again?
I'm in New York, and he's in Minnesota.
Okay, right on. Yeah.
Yep. Almost Canada.
Yeah. Almost Manitoba, right?
Right.
Yeah,
man, the sun hasn't been out in 9 days now. It's just so gloomy this winter. Yeah.
Well, you're one of the coldest places in America, right?
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you say? Yeah. That part of the States. Wisconsin also, I imagine.
Yeah, Wisconsin's probably only about 30 miles away or so.
Yeah,
it's just as bad there.
Yeah.
We've barely seen any snow over here. We've been lucky so far. But is there an album that you dislike more than the others?
I mean, I would say probably Dead Again, and but I mean, we could try do a little of what you were saying before. Do you want to talk a fair bit about the debut?
We can. I wish I would have got a little refresher first, but sure. I know that I'm like at the back of my hand, but
yeah, I mean, I suppose I do too. But again, I do feel I was even playing it again, and I do feel that the songs to me are the most similar to each other, but they're not a lot different from each other. And I think that's one of the great things about it. I mean, I suppose I can really, or I will talk about it just in a general sense, but I think the reason that album endures so much is that it's got the most catchiest 5 or 6 parts of the entire catalog, and the stuff that they keep playing over and over, and it stands the test of time as well. And obviously, yeah, Metallica likes all that stuff too, right? But but even compared to Don't Break the Oath, it's like the most catchiest songs are on the debut,
right? Yeah.
And so I think that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, I think it's better than Don't Break the Oath.
Yeah,
you know, Don't Break the Oath has maybe 2 songs that I don't really care for, but what.
I just realized we were talking about Melissa and not the EP.
Right, yeah. All right.
We did the EP like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. But Martin said debut, and my brain went elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, the EP, you know, it's funny. I tried to rack my brains back to the history of the EP, and, you know, even though we had our pulse, me and my buddies, all over the new wave of British heavy metal stuff. Somehow that EP slipped by, whether it was being on Rave On or whatever, or the import shops we went to. You know, I was born in Trail, British Columbia.
Move over. You're going to get blocked by my logo.
the interior of BC, right? And the place we, the place we shopped all the time was Spokane, Washington, right? And we had these great record stores, Magic Mushroom, Strawberry Jams, and you know, there were a few things that I remember getting, but for some reason that EP, so that would have been 82, and you know, every bloody obscure metal thing that ever happened out of the new wave of British heavy metal we knew about, but I'm pretty sure that we missed that EP somehow and went straight into Melissa.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't know if you know who Ralph Vieira is.
Yeah,
he has a podcast. He was on our last show. And he was telling us how he got into Mercyful Fate, and he actually found that record. What was his friend was working at a record shop or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he ended up having it.
Saw the cover and told him he had to get it.
Yeah,
and
there really is a marked difference, between the EP and Melissa. I mean, Melissa is miles more skilled than the EP.
Oh,
If I would have got the EP first, I would have loved it and thought this is a very strange, unique band, and it's actually really skilled, but it does feel a little bit like just a really, really good new wave of British heavy metal indie. But Melissa doesn't. I mean, Melissa, like I say, it sounds like, wow, these guys spent $1 million in the studio, and they're just some of the greatest musicians going. And, you know, a funny thing that, you know, when Michael said we wanted to be the heaviest band in the world, right? The actual original ads for Sad Wings of Destiny say, like the UK newspaper ones say, the heaviest band in the world, which is pretty wild. Because, you know, for an ad to actually get it right, and like, you know, Judas Priest probably by some measures were the heaviest band in the world. They were certainly probably the best metal band in the world from 76 to 79, right?
I would certainly say if they weren't the heaviest when Sad Wings was out, they definitely got there when Stained Glass came out.
Yeah, exactly. It's got every song's heavy except one that's half heavy, right? Beyond the Realms of Death, right? And sure, you know, that's how we used to measure things. We had the whole math around it. Sad Wings was a 6 out of 8, right? It had the 2 ballads, and everything else was heavy, right? You know, and Sin After Sin had a couple of so-sos, we used to call them. Diamonds and Rust didn't get counted because it was in the middle. And Last Rose of Summer was a lousy, and we had really goods and average goods and all that stuff. So we basically had this thing where you go, it's a 7 out of 9, it's a 6 out of 8, it's a 5 out of 7, it's a 9 out of 9 or whatever. It literally, and we remember like the great day when the first, we called it the perfect album, came out, and that would have been Rainbow Rising first, 6 out of 6, and then Let There Be Rock, 8 out of 8 or 9 out of 9. I think it's 9 out of 9, and then the Sex Pistols album, and then Motorhead albums, Not the first Motorhead album, because it had a couple of too bluesy songs or poppy songs, right? Vibrator, I think, was one of them. But certainly with Overkill and Bomber, they were the next perfect albums. So they were the only albums that were completely heavy, right?
Yeah.
Well, and Lightning to the Nations.
Yeah, well, we're into 1980 by that point, right? So there's lots of stuff at that point coming around. Yeah.
I argue about this all the time at work with the guys at my job. What makes an album a 10?
Well, I would say taking the old me and taking King Diamond, because King Diamond and I had this hilarious talk about this at the same time. He said the same thing. Skip over the ballads. The ballads are a waste, or if there were any horns or anything like that, like check the instruments on the back and all this stuff. He talked exactly like all of us talk, right? So it's understandable they were what they were. So no ballads, because they totally, for my whole childhood, did not count at all. Like you just like it did not even enter into the discussion that it's a ballad song, right? But yeah, I don't know. Perfect production, totally loving probably 7 or 8 of those songs, thinking they're absolute anthemic classics, choruses that just that hit you in a huge way. Yeah, I just. Obviously utter close to perfection, right?
Yeah. So you don't have to like every song, just as long as
No, I don't think so. Yeah, there could be 1 or 2 that are marginal, I suppose.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
we were fighting over Staying Hungry being Stay Hungry being
Hungry?
10. I said maybe.
Stay Hungry to me is that record where it had. There's a few bands that have these records, and that record felt so much to me like it had 3 songs heavier than anything they'd ever done, and 3 songs poppier and lighter than anything they'd ever done. So it was what we used to call a Peaks and Valleys album, especially coming off of You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, which was just a flat line right through, right? It's just like, when Dee says we wanted to be a mix of Judas Priest and AC/DC, that one really leaned towards the AC/DC, and Stay Hungry had, like I say, heavier and lighter, and it was a Peaks and Valleys to me.
Yeah. What were we saying?
It is. I was going to say something similar to what Martin said. It really is a Peaks and Valleys record, and it's plays so super uneven now to me.
Yeah, very uneven.
It's hard to listen to.
Like, We're Not Gonna Take It, I Hate, and there's a ballad, right? But then there's also like 3.
Oh, the ballad on that's awesome.
Yeah, but even in '84 we hated ballads, right?
The only reason anybody has ever owned Stay Hungry, I don't care what you say, it's for Burning Hell.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
But again, even the heavy ones on that, I think they dumbed down. They were into the dumbing down process. So the heavier ones, even though they're really heavy, they're actually made to sound heavier because of Tom Werman's totally uncharacteristic Tom Werman production. He doesn't produce like that ever anywhere else. But that production is really harsh, and obviously the band is mad at it. But I think my favorite album by far is the debut. I think the debut. I think all the heavier songs on that are way better than the heavier songs even on Stay Hungry.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Even the original mix sounds better than you ever hear the original mix.
I forget the story.
There's a complete different mix. There's like one of the remastered versions sounds completely different from the original version. Yeah.
I experienced that album more than anything on the whatever Twisted Sister's original record label was version, right? Yeah. What was that called? Tough Records or something?
Tough, yeah.
Tough?
TUFF, yeah.
So was the debut on Tough? I mean, I would have had like an English copy. What's the English copy on?
Oh, wait. Is it
or
Tough?
Is that, or like,
no. The first EP is called Rough Cuts, and it's on Secret Records.
Secret, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so even the second one is, I think, on, or like the debut full length is Secret, I think.
Under the Blade originally came out on Secret, and then they redid it and re-released it on Atlantic. But they weren't on Atlantic until they did You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. And that was when they did their first video and all that. And, God, I can't remember what show they were on, but I love where they played with Motorhead when Brian Robertson was with them. That was cool.
Right. Yeah, I remember that story.
I don't know how we got to Twisted Sister, but when you got into Merciful Fate, were you? How did you take with all the occult and satanic and stuff lyrics?
Well, it was probably a little creeped me out a little bit. We're already primed for it through Venom, I suppose, and Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath, we could have that whole argument, whether it's a cult or not. Of course, it's not really on the face of it, in certain ways it is. That Bloody Sabbath album cover is sure pretty occult.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Venom was there already. But with Merciful Fate, it felt, like I say, creepier, almost like I say, going back to like the back cover and the religious writing of Sad Wings of Destiny, and him holding the big mic stand up and looking like a cross and all that, and the short hair. So that felt a little weird, this religious-y thing. And then it comes up again with Merciful. So yeah, it was but it's funny. You get a little bit of this Michael and Hank also pondering what was the value of that and the worth of it. And it's almost like you could complain about it for the satanicness of it, but you could also complain about it for the it doesn't relate to people's life part of it. Right. So it's when it's not overtly like let's just go all the way and say it's not about, chicks and partying and love and riding motorcycles and stuff like that. So if it's not going to be about that, the whole album is going to be just feel like something that's foreign to your life, no matter what your creeped out factor is on it. So that's kind of a funny part of it as well. So it's literally all about a world that is just really kind of fanciful and bizarre and fantastical, right?
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what turned me onto it too. It's like when I first got into it, I'm like, my parents and everybody else was trying to push me away from it because it was all satanic stuff like that. And then, it did scare me a little bit because I was little. I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. I didn't know nothing about that stuff. But after a while, I started getting to more bands, and then I just started, seeing the pictures and seeing what King looked like and stuff like that. And then I was drawn into it a lot more.
Yeah. And King is the biggest sweetheart and a cuddly dude anyway.
Yeah, that's what's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, you read the interviews with him or you talk to him, and he's just so enthusiastic about music, and he's very moral guy, and he likes talking about moral issues. And then also in the book, you find out a little later, like when he explains a lot about what he believes in, it's not witches and devil satanic, so it's not even that, but it's also even I didn't explore it fully because he went on to what he really believes, but it's not even really all that much, down the path of the Anton LaVey thing. Although he says he kind of bonded with Anton about, feeling a certain way about stuff. But then when King actually explains what he believes, it's almost like a complete strange reincarnation type religion in itself. It's not a religion. It's just a very bizarre belief that this whole thing about what does he say? So it's about how we go through lives and you keep getting reincarnated because you haven't experienced everything in life yet, like killing someone or love or marriage or having kids or riding a sea-doo or whatever it is, right? It's like you keep getting reincarnated, and then possibly I don't know. It's all explained in there by King and not me, so it's even better.
Okay.
But basically the idea is, and then I think I took a couple runs at it because I let him talk about it a couple times because he kept adding in other things. But I think the idea is you don't really pass on to the other world or whatever it's called. And that he also keeps vague as well, right? You don't pass on to this other world situation until through all your 6 or 7 or 12 lives, you've experienced everything a human being is supposed to experience, and then you pass on to this other world or whatever, right? But the other funny thing about King, though, is there's interesting stuff in here about paranormal things that we've all heard him talk about and tell these stories about these paranormal. Right, yeah. But even you'll hear some of the producers talk about the little gremlin that would happen or the weird things that would come on the recordings and stuff, right? Yeah. So they tell these stories and they're perfectly normal guys, and you listen to them and you sort of just find yourself believing them, right? And
Right.
even when King explains all that stuff, the way he explains it, because he's such a good explainer, right?
Right. Yeah.
You basically end up believing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't think I might be getting this confused. I don't think this is a King story. No, I don't think this is a King story, but I remember hearing a paranormal story. You guys are experts in this. You can tell me if this is a King story, and if it is, it's actually in the book, because I keep forgetting whether this is a King story or not. But about no, I think this is why I'm getting this wrong, because part of it is King and part of it, the other detail is not King. But I remember somebody perfectly sober explaining to me a story about a cup lifting off of a desk.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
No, but wait, listen, it gets
Okay.
different. There's a twist. And the cup turns over like this, and it pours a big pile of sand onto the desk.
Well, that I didn't hear.
So that is not part of the King story. But you hear a story like that and you go, wow, that is a crazy, crazy story. And it's almost like the crazier story, like that whole thing where people say, oh, you can't make this stuff up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hear that story and go, wow, that is so wild that it does sound like something that nobody would make up, right?
All right.
So I don't know. So the long and short of it is, I'm not a big paranormal believer, but when King tells me this stuff, I basically actually believe him. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he makes you believe. But
Yeah.
so far, we're just debunking all his stuff, because every guest that we've had on so far has said they have never seen anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does that include any of the guys that were
That's-
there? How about at his parties, at his apartment?
Yeah, Michael Denner said no. Snowy Shaw said no. Who was the other? David Harbour said no.
Dave Harbor said no. Yeah.
And who else do we have? I think that's it so far. Oh, no, Pete Black.
Yeah, I've had some say no's as well, but I'm wondering, it would be interesting to do some research and get like the girl that was in the washroom at the party, or the other guys when they were drinking and throwing beer bottles against the wall, and didn't they come back to the party after or something? And this whole thing about, or maybe he was alone when he had that thing where he says, oh, you could stand to the left and stand to the right, and there was this evil smell, and then there wasn't, right? So there's that one, but there's also like the people have heard in his apartment.
I've heard that one. And then there's an interview with Timmy Hansen on YouTube that I was watching fairly recently, and he explained a thing that he saw, like a shadow thing that he saw in King's apartment one time. But he's the only one I ever heard talk about that.
Yeah.
We didn't get to have him on the show, obviously, because he passed away.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole paranormal thing. I suppose I don't really believe it. I mean, at the bottom, at the face of it, I guess I don't really believe it. So.
And if we ever have Kim Ruz on, if you're watching this damn show, Kim Ruz, you better email.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one curse I do believe in, and it's of the pharaohs.
Yeah, exactly.
That may be the first Merciful Fate song I ever heard, because it was on some compilation.
Okay.
And
here's my Melissa. Yeah.
It wasn't Hell Comes to Your House, I don't think, but it was something similar to that, but just blew me away. So heavy and so catchy, but so perfectly played at the same time.
Yeah, and the funny thing I think I remember about Evil, and I wrote about it in the book, is how everybody's favorite part of Evil, like when it kicks in and has that first verse.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we ever get another verse ever again in the song. I think it just goes off in another direction, and you never get that cool thing that was the payoff right at the beginning of the song.
Really?
Yeah,
you're right. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I never really thought about that.
Good.
Before.
See, here we go. So you're noticing it in your mind, right? Yeah. I know I wouldn't have got it wrong in the book. I think I'm not sure I getting it right now, because I would have. I basically put headphones on and listened to all this stuff really carefully, because I adopted a little bit of the whole. The thing I went through with the Clash and the Led Zeppelin books to it, and time signatures and looking for funny instruments and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Did you find anything weird while listening to it over again?
Boy, Nothing that comes to mind. I mean, I do recall a lot of the different time signatures. You know, the thing that I found really interesting and very satisfying about doing the book is how awesome King's little stories are across all those songs that nobody knows off of all those reunion albums, right? They put so much effort and work into them, and his stories are really good. I mean, King sometimes gets some abuse for it being cheesy horror or something, right? But I don't know, man. There are some really crazy images in a lot of those stories, and just weird little dynamics between, like, you know, like the Madonna figure, and it's actually the devil behind the Madonna figure, and all this, and it's bleeding blood and all. So there's some really tight little horror stories. I think actually that are better because they are tight and they're not so fully explained as you get across, you know, the conceptual King Diamond end of it. It's all way more explained, right?
Right. Yeah. That's the difference between the both.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest reasons why I'll always like Merciful Fate the best.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even if it's a long song, if it's something as awesome as Satan's Fall, I'd rather it be tied up in 11 minutes and one song instead of a full record. But
yeah, and you know, even there, like I when I was doing the book, like, I talked to a lot of super fans of both bands, and including these producers who have worked on both projects, and it was hard to even get out of them the difference between the King Diamond band and the Merciful band. But in my mind, it's always been, there's more double bass on King Diamond, there's more keyboards, there's more vocal arrangements, and the stories are more explained and in depth, and it's more conceptual. I mean, what do you guys think? What are the main differences to you guys?
Yeah, like you said, Merciful Fate's more just song after song after song, and King Diamond's it's a story. Every album's a story.
Yeah,
that's basically the difference.
And Merciful Fate, at least for me, has always had more of a more aggressive edge to it, almost, if you will. And not to say that the way the King Diamond band plays is sluggish, but you know, Merciful Fate's more immediate, like a Fear or a Sex Pistols record.
Right. Yeah. And you know, people, or at least the guys in the band and fans, kind of say that Merciful Fate has got more of a 70s vibe.
Right.
I think the guitar playing is a little more important and central and distinct. I think to me, always King Diamond has always felt more locked to a grid as well. I mean, it just seems jackhammery in a very general sense compared to Merciful. Like, Merciful just seems a little bit
more free and like, I guess, kind of loose, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, with the time signatures and even the changes in the Merciful Fate songs, it is looser. You know, it's almost a natural progression, it feels like, where with King Diamond, when it does change, it's very structured to make a very specific point about that part of the story.
I think King Diamond is a little bit more, I guess you could say, maybe power metal-ish in a way.
Yeah, and soundtracky, right? Soundtracky passages, right?
Yeah.
More sound effects and things.
Yeah, because they wouldn't do that stuff in Merciful Fate. All those background things and have extra characters around, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I didn't think at all that I would even consider doing an actual King Diamond book, but the Merciful Fate book has been selling so fast that I'm thinking, you know, I may be able to do one. I thought just one would be enough, but
no, you're gonna have to do a King Diamond book.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
There's no way you can't.
Because the neat thing is, you know, I included a fair bit of the King Diamond story as we went along, especially the important pressure points like Fatal Portrait, right? You know, just and then some of the other ones that recorded kind of at the same time. So if I had kind of a good passage from King where he talked a little bit at length about one of those, so it's a little bit done. It's maybe 20% done in this book already, but because I didn't think I would do one, but I almost feel like rising to the challenge, because one of the cool things about doing these books is immersing yourself into a catalog again, like having that. You know, having that Merciful Fate festival for a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why I wanted to start this show because King Diamond's one of my favorite. Halloween's my favorite band, but King Diamond's like my second favorite, and Merciful Fate together. And just doing the show, I just I wanted to listen to all the albums again and just remember all the shit that they did.
yeah.
Especially because he hasn't done anything in how many years?
Yeah, well, what are your guys' thoughts on the Michael Denner, Mike Weed reunion continuation story?
I hate it, but I get it, and we know a little bit behind the scenes kind of stuff, what happened with all that stuff. But it is what it is. I mean, I get it because Mike Weed was in the band on the last album.
Yeah.
So I understand Michael Denner not coming back, but the reason why he didn't come back is kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then do you know the reason why he's not back?
Well, the one reason that's talked about a fair bit is the thing about the album cover being too similar to like basically getting Thomas again to do the album cover, and it looked too much like Don't Break the Oath and King.
Yeah, with
Denner. What Michael says, what was kind of interesting is that it's not exactly just because of the album cover. It's because Michael said, in Michael's way, he said, and I remember talking to King about it, and I said, cool it. And it's almost like King got offended that Michael was like brushing it off or something and treating it as kind of a small. But it's funny. I've got a quote in there from Michael from a few years earlier, where he says, "If there was a reunion, I wouldn't even want to be involved. Let Mike Weed do it." So that's in the book. That's literally in the book. Like it's not right at the juncture when it happens, but it was from a couple years earlier. So it's almost like maybe King even knew that quote and is thinking in the back of his mind, Michael doesn't even really want to do it or whatever, right? But I understand King's thing with this is the continuation of the band. Like Mike Weed was there on all the latest stuff, right?
Yeah. So I get that part. How do you feel about that, Greg? I know you don't feel good about it either, but
I get it. I'm not thrilled about it, but I understand it. I'm gonna try not to go into it with a bad attitude because I do love Merciful Fate. I did like those records, so I want to see how it is anyway. But I really wish Michael Denner was part of it.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of weird that Charlie D'Angelo ain't there, but he's busy with his other band, so that's understandable as well.
Yeah. Joey Vera is going to do it? Yeah. So this is all, does this start in June? I can't remember. And how many dates? I just forget.
So. I don't know.
It's not a lot of dates, is it? Really?
I don't think so. It might be like 10 dates or something like that. I don't really know. It's not happening here, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Oh, it probably will.
I'm already upset enough. I have to go all the way down to fucking Missouri to see the Circle Jerks.
Oh, yeah.
Not coming anywhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
40th anniversary of Group Sex. They got the whole original band.
Wow. Funny.
2-day drive.
So do you think King is ever going to release another album either with Merciful Fate or King Diamond?
That's right. That new one didn't happen yet, did it?
He released one single, and that's it.
What went on there? Yeah, it's a month's passed before I even thought about it anymore. Is there a word that it's not happening for some reason? I haven't heard the gossip.
No, he keeps saying that songs aren't done yet, but from things that we hear that nothing's going on.
Yeah.
You mean they're not working on it?
Yeah, we're hearing that it's just not happening.
That's really interesting and odd. I don't know why he wouldn't.
It is very odd because why release one single and don't continue with an album? I mean, he keeps saying there's going to be like a double album, but why release a single if an album's not even done yet? When would the album come out? Like another year from now?
Yeah. That's strange. I totally forgot all about it. I would have thought, it must be coming real soon, but I guess not. I mean, it doesn't make sense because he's got a stable, nice label deal and good recording facilities there in Texas, and he's got a good relationship with Brian Slagle, and Brian would probably love to see an album, and they could put it out in all these fancy formats, and he's obviously a touring act. He's looking great, by the way. He's really got a really cool
sounds
look.
Good too.
Yeah. So that's I wonder if there's something nefarious about that, but I don't see why he loves music so much that you would think he would love to have a new album out.
Right. You would think so. I mean, maybe because the way album sales are right now, maybe he doesn't feel a reason to do it. I don't know. That's all speculation, so who knows? Maybe he does have the album half done. Who knows?
Yeah.
Did you like the new
just
song? Go ahead. Rick?
I was going to say, I just don't think it's quite at the level of ready he's saying it is, and he's just trying in a polite way not to tease us, but just keep interest up, but buy himself some time.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely got the concept and everything, and at least the lyrics and whatnot all thought out. I just don't think the music is completely written for the record yet.
You know, psychologically speaking, and just thinking about, you know, having these producers talk about all those records, you know, I wonder if as time goes on and you get older, and the amount of work that they have to put into these records. I mean, they were all grueling records to make, the reunion records, right? And I wonder if, as you get older, you build up in your mind how hard it is, and especially if you said it was going to be a double album, and it's almost like you could probably overwhelm yourself and say, you know what, I'm too old for this shit. I can't do this anymore, right? Yeah, and you might just say, you know, I don't think I can finish this thing and get all these guys together and blah blah blah, and nobody's going to buy it because there's no CDs anymore and music's free, and so yeah, you wonder, eh? Because you know, you could run out of energy in your career and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I'll do this touring and forget making any more records, right?
Yeah. Which is a shame because he's got a really good band right now. I got Matt Thompson, he's an awesome drummer, and they got the new bass player. Actually, we're supposed to have him on the show as well sometime in the next few weeks. And then Mike Weed sounds really great with Andy LaRocque. I mean, that's they're really good together.
Yeah,
I think that they're a really good team. So it'd be a shame to not put something out, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, cool.
What'd you think of the new song?
I literally can't remember now. I mean, I can't picture it in my head. I thought it was pretty good. It was, but it wasn't Mercyful Fate to me. It was King. It clearly sounded like a King song. Yeah. So I mean, I liked it as much as I have this floor or ceiling, whatever you want to call it, on King material. I mean, I always the things I don't like about King were in that song. But like I say, I can't picture it in my mind. But like you, Greg, I mean, it's never going to feel as important as Mercyful Fate, I don't think, to me. Yeah. And the funny thing, just to mention before I forget, I mean, the other interesting thing that he said in the book, like when he was talking a little bit about his career, and I think I compared it in the book, I'm sure I did, to the Genesis Peter Gabriel situation, right? Where basically, you know, everybody, all the music fans in the world, and there would be the most excitement around Genesis if Peter Gabriel got into the band, but they said the whole thing is actually less economically viable than just the Phil Collins fronted version. So that's why they went with the Phil Collins fronted version. And King basically says, I can't make as much money with Mercyful Fate as I can with King Diamond. Basically, King Diamond, you know, partially I'm sure that's because of the structures of the deals, and he's the solo guy, and him, you know, he's kind of saying personally I can make a lot more money with King Diamond, but also he's hammered that brand harder than he has really the Mercyful Fate brand. And when you think of younger generations of metal fans, you know, as the waves continue, there are a lot of people who think Painkiller is the greatest Judas Priest album, and so there are a lot of people who love the Eye and Conspiracy and of course Abigail as records. You know, there are a lot of fans that say Mercyful Fate. It's probably even a little bit like Black Sabbath fans who love the Ronnie era and say the 70s band is just a bunch of hippies, right? It's probably not that extreme, but there are people who love Abigail who are 35 years old who look at Mercyful Fate and say, it's just some weird old hippie shit, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where can people go and get your book in case they've never heard of you before and they don't know where your website is?
MartinPopoff.com. I mean, my whole job essentially, or most of my job is the mail order, signing and sending out my own books. There's PayPal buttons there for U.S., international, Canada. Everything that is in print by me, I have right here in my office. So that's about 50 titles. And yeah, I sign them, send them out from the office. I'm doing mail order kind of every day. So yeah, martinpopoff.com.
Man, really cool. Do you have anything else you want to promote? You said you do a podcast too?
Yeah, have a new podcast called History in 5 Songs with Martin Popoff. I'm up to about 30 episodes. It's on Pantheon, so it's on like 40 places you can get it, essentially, 40 plus, whatever, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. And so I basically come up with a point that I want to make, and I have 5 songs to make that point. So we've had the last one was a really cool, odd one. I won't go into the whole story. It's called The Very, Very Strange Story of Ram Jam, and it's all about that Ram Jam album into the second album and how it's just a completely bizarre story. But yeah, about 30 episodes we've got of that. Other than that, the Rainbow Book is now sold out, so don't order the Rainbow Book from me. But I've got the two Iron Maiden books I still have, the 2 Priest books I still have, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through a Saxon book.
Oh wow. That's a shame we didn't. One of the guys who used to be on our show, he's a huge Saxon fan.
Oh, yeah?
Well, we'll have to tell him about the Saxon book.
Yeah.
Definitely. And everybody, I mean, they should give it out with boxes of Tide in America. Everybody needs a copy of Martin's Blue Oyster Cult book.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I'm doing 2 other Blue Oyster Cult books right now. 2 other weird.
I can't wait.
But yeah, that original one is actually. It's been through 3 editions now, and it's just the stories in there are so good because those guys are so interesting when it comes to the lyrics and stuff, right? I mean, just stories are just really cool.
Yeah. You excited for the new album?
Oh yeah, dying to hear that because again, that's another band who just puts a lot of quality into what they do. And those last 2 albums they did, the Stray ones, the '98 and the 2000, whatever it was, 2002. Mm-hmm. Curse of the Hidden Mirror. They're both brave and cool and different for various reasons. So I think that's a band that's probably, again, a little bit like we were saying, conjecture about King, but it's definitely about Blue Oyster Cult. They find it really, really, really hard to write music because they have pretty high standards, and they're also cranky about the music industry and all that stuff. So they basically have been the types who haven't been wanting to make albums. So it'll be great to see now.
Yeah, I hope so. Is there any new band that you're like excited about nowadays?
Not really. I basically still, there's so much old music that I'm studying all the time, and I'm studying stuff for the books, but also, I'm almost working my way in 10-year increments. And, I listen to a lot of like Clutch and King's X and what else? Black Country Communion and Pantera I loved from the 90s. So it's almost like when people say new band to me, it's still bands that are 10 to 20 years old because I have and the other thing is I listen to a lot of stuff from the era I grew up in that I paid no attention to at the time. They should have a word for it, like some sort of special kind of nostalgia, nostalgia for something you missed. In the late 70s or the early 80s or whatever, like a whole genre of music you paid no attention to, and you go in and restudy all that stuff. So I've been doing a lot of that.
What band? Name one.
Boy, so I've been listening to a lot of post-punk, like a lot of The Jam and Magazine, and getting into Madness, playing tons of Madness.
I got into it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's my 2 favorite Madness albums are the last 2 albums they made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and I've been having this late period that's been going on for years with the Who. So I love the new Who album, and I'm into that stuff. I loved Endless Wire. I'm probably the only one who loved Endless Wire. I love Face Dances, and it's hard. So I'm a really weird Who fan as well. But yeah, and some hardcore stuff like Cockney Rejects and even Crass and bands like that. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool little nooks and crannies of even old timey music that I totally missed. That I'm going
old timey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have a bunch of industry buddies who are like massive, metal industry people who who went and explored all that yacht rock stuff again. Remember all those cool yacht rock YouTube videos? That got a lot of people.
Yeah.
All that easy listening stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's even all those albums you hated as a kid. Those bands that made 5 albums like Ambrosia and Exile, and just weird stuff, right? Pilot,
Well, I
Host
love
Plan
Steely Dan, but
Starland Vocal
you
Band.
can keep the Ambrosia.
Exactly. But it's funny. So there's all sorts of music, and and they were all very expensive records because everything was on major labels and they were with big producers. So it was all analog, and if there was a choir or classical instruments, it was a real choir and real classical instruments. So
right, yeah. It's funny. When I was emailing you back earlier, I typed in your name in the search thing, and an old email popped up from like 2009, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
It was about. I was writing you. Well, my guitarist at the time, I was in a band called Phoenix Rain. I guess you may have had contact with him.
Yeah.
Billy Chrysohost. I don't know if you remember him at all.
Yeah.
Well, he sent me an email, and it was questions about people's collections,
Okay.
like record collections.
All right. Yeah.
Yes, and I answered all the questions and sent it back to you.
Well, I hope that got in the book, because I
don't
did
know.
a book later, a book called Metal Collector, which didn't sell very well, by the way. That's the other thing I've really learned, and it's happened over and over again. Books on one band do great. Books that are general and a conceptual kind of book, they usually are a real hard sell, right?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that one I had a book of collecting stories and autograph stories. I'm a huge autograph hound, and I've
Yeah, I am too. My friend got me into doing that. And
yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got 3,000 items in my office here that
Really?
that have been autographs, and I also love the advertisements, obviously, which are throughout all the books, right? And I actually started recently drawing the ads and stuff. And hang on, I don't know how this probably won't even show, but so yeah, things like this. Let's see how this looks.
Yeah, come over a little bit more. Yep.
So this is all pencil crayon on black.
Wow.
And so I've been doing a lot of this, and I might actually even do prints of them. Here's a Clash one.
So you drew all that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so here, I'll show you some more. So I love how they're turning out on black. So
Yeah, they look cool.
I've come up with new color schemes for some of them. That's the Dan Dad. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, this was a pretty recent one. Whole new color scheme to the Alice Cooper Greatest Hits.
Wow.
So that's all pencil crayon on black paper.
Wow.
And then what I did, actually, this is just another normal one. So this is just a Judas Priest Sad Wings ad that never was in color, but I made a color version of it.
Wow.
But then here's the one. So I actually started finding, so I made up a whole new ad for this Black Sabbath Master of Reality. So this text here, there's an actual ad that exists that only has text and no image at all. And then I added in these British warplanes, which weren't in anything. So I made a Master of Reality ad that doesn't exist. And then this one is a Technical Ecstasy ad that was never in color. So, and then I think we got one more here.
That's cool.
So this one I don't like very much. But there was a I don't like the colors. This ad actually existed. It's Paranoid. That all says Paranoid slowly.
Oh, yes.
So there's an actual Paranoid ad. But I made color and picked some colors, and I didn't like the colors I picked, and I think I got one more. Oh yeah, so this is a completely made up Blue Oyster Cult Mirrors ad that does not exist, and that's using the Mirrors ad. And then this is actually a buddy of mine, Rich Galbraith, took a photo of Eric, and I stuck his photo. I redrew his photo in there, and I picked different colors, so it's all browns and yellows here, and I made so that's a completely
That's really
made up.
cool.
Yeah, you did some real good work there.
I'm going to do a bunch of those, and maybe make prints of them or something like that.
They would look good on T-shirts.
Yeah. So, some of these.
I would buy that Mirrors one as a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I would buy a print of that.
Well, that's cool because I might make prints. I might make small ones, card size, large ones. The mailing of them is a little bit of a pain. I might actually even go into record shows with them, and I might start drawing them square so I can make them square that they fit in the milk crates. With the cardboard.
Oh yeah, like the
just flip
flaps.
through them.
Yeah.
exactly. Like the flats they have, and then make prints and sell prints of that. And then the whole Blue Oyster Cult project is just straight white. Hang on, if you got a minute, I'll show you one or two of those. Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a minute.
Yeah, you're home now. You ain't going anywhere.
Not right now, no.
Well, where would you be going besides bed?
I think I've got some here. So this is a start with. This is still, now this can be hard to tell, but this is just pencil on white paper, if you look really closely there. So this is a vibrators ad. But here's another custom Blue Oyster Cult one I did. So this is another mirrors ad with a 1920s flapper girl with her little mirror thing. So
now you do it all freehand, or how do you do it?
There's some projection and some collaging. So there's a few tricks used as well, and that speeds it up. And then so we've got well, I won't show you all the ads, but we've got a budgie in for the kill ad.
Awesome.
We've got a sweet give us a wink ad. See the winking girl there?
Oh yeah.
So it's, and then but let me just show. Here's another Blue Oyster Cult. This is just a straight on your feet or on your knees ad.
Wow.
You know,
I actually have that original ad framed.
Cool, excellent. Actually, here's one more Blue Oyster Cult. This is a Tyrone.
Awesome. Tyranny and Mutation.
I think that's my favorite BOC cover.
But let me just stop showing you ads, and I'll just show you.
Bill Golick's covers were the best by far. I love their
So let me find something that's actually going into this this book. Okay, so here's one. So this is this one's going to be hard to sort of tell what's going on, but so this is a kind of a Rosicrucian thing in the background, and then a guy at a wheel with a there's a little girl standing there. But this one you'll recognize. So this is the original. That's a drawing of the original.
Yep.
You know, the photo that was from. And then these rich people here, and then this is drawn really black because Imaginos, the Magna of Illusion, John Dee, the mirror. So the black mirror thing is like an occult image that is used a lot. So this guy's holding a black mirror, and so and then we got the Blue Oyster Cult guy over the side.
That's really cool.
Let's see. Oh, here's another completely made up Black Sabbath one where text existed, but I added in the Civil War cannons. So you see the Civil War ship at the top. And it says Black Sabbath are taking a break, but you can see them at their show. But now you can hear them on Vertigo. So this was actual text, Black Sabbath text that had no image. So I added the image at the top. So that's it. So I couldn't find it. Yeah. So there's about 25 of the actual ones for this Imaginos book that are done.
Wow. How long does that take you to make?
They don't take that long. I'd say 3 to 4 hours a piece.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
A lot of detail and stuff into that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Can whack them off pretty fast. But, you know, it's much easier when you're just doing, like, you pick up one pencil. So when you're just doing pencil on white. But, you know, that's a good thing to do for black and white books because they're much cheaper to do than color books. And so it's when you've got a book that's just going to be black ink anyways, you may as well just do pencil on white.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Some nice stuff. Wow, never knew you drew, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I do have a small suggestion if you're still doing pictures for Imaginos. I've always wanted to see the Baron's Castle at Wassaria.
Right. That's right. I actually thought to do that one because that does exist. That's a great idea for the one or two I have to get finished. Yeah, you're right. But I've gone way deep into some things like so this will blow your mind, but you got to really know your Imaginos to know this one. But there's the Gil Blanco County where there is actually you know, the guy rides out on the horse. So I found I'm going to do a cowboy sitting on a horse, but for his head, I'm going to put in this this British military guy who hosted Aleister Crowley at his house, and they summoned a demon and asked him if there was going to be a big world conflict coming up. And then so I found one of the few pictures of this guy. I'm going to stick his head on this Gil Blanco County guy sitting on the horse.
That's awesome.
And then this guy actually later gets court-martialed for screwing up something in World War I. So it's funny that this guy, they summoned a demon and asked about World War I. But so, yeah, the timeline is crazy. The timeline is crazy about the occult history of origins of World War I. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to keep all this in because I'm on a Blue Oyster Cult fan club page, and they love everything Blue Oyster.
Oh yeah. This will be a fun project. So
the best band of all time, man.
Yeah.
All right, you say so.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It was a lot of fun. If you ever want to join us for like a whole album, I mean, it takes forever, but still.
Oh, you go through, and so it would. Yeah, well, we'll find some stuff. Yeah, we'll find some stuff. Cool.
But really appreciate you coming on.
Actually, because I think I could get you to listen to it, Wayne. Sorry, Martin, not to take up too much of your time, but you just inspired me with it. I would love to do a track by track of Mirrors. So
oh, I would do that in a minute.
That is one of my favorite BOC records, mostly because, quite honestly, it reminds me of the Cars.
Of the Cars, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's an album I could definitely do track by track off the top of my head. I know every song
awesome.
Well, so yeah.
Is Shooting Sharks off that one?
No, that's the Revolution by Night.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you've seen. We've done an episode on mirrors. I have this other YouTube show called The Contrarians. If you go on YouTube and type in The Contrarians, you'll see a video YouTube show that we've done about 12 episodes of. And it's 3 guys, and it's 2 guys arguing where one guy's favorite album by a band is a contrary choice. So we did a Bluish Cult episode, and I was arguing that Mirrors is my favorite Bluish Cult album. So you could see that on YouTube.
Oh, cool. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ought to do a Sabbath one sometime because Born Again's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Funny, yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Very cool.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on, man.
We shall keep in touch, and let's do this again sometime.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Don't go nowhere. Let me just end the show, and then we will talk to you in a second. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for watching. Check us out next week, and we don't know who's going to be on because I don't know what's going on next. But see you guys next week. Yeah.
However, I can give people, and I keep dragging out the time. I'm batting 1,000 here.
Yeah,
but I finally have scored myself an original copy of Diamond Head's Lightning to the Nation. So once that arrives in the mail, we will definitely be talking about that for a full episode.
Well, that's on a whole different show.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know,
King
man.
Diamond
It's
show.
Wednesday. I can't remember.
Have me on
Whatever.
for the Diamond Head show. I'll do that with you.
All right, sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be
You're on.
awesome.
All right. So see you guys next week. Adios. Goodbye.
What?